Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Next, we're going to get into absolute triple net deals. I'm really excited. So thanks for being here, Angelo.
Well, thanks for having me, Kristen. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's just jump into your background. Tell us a little bit about, how you've evolved in this industry and landed to where you are today.
Well, I started off as a kid. My parents used to have some rental properties, mainly single family and duplexes. Obviously, I was always riding around with them. I always thought real estate was the coolest thing. But you get to a certain age and you hate riding everywhere. And I always thought to myself, I'm like, why don't they just buy like apartments? There's like 20 of them right here. So like kind of early in life, I had this kind of fascination with commercial real estate. So once I was towards the end of college and was about to graduate, I actually hopped in the multifamily industry. And from there, I started as a part-time leasing agent. When I got out of the multifamily side of things, I was a regional manager over 3,000 units. And then I kind of shifted and went over to our commercial side, which I was always just fascinated with. And on the commercial side, I worked with a company that did a lot of development, and most of our leases were absolute triple net leases. And that's why I learned more about that strategy and why it's so powerful.
Yeah. And what exactly drew you into commercial? What about it really enticed you?
It definitely was an ego thing. I was like, hey, I would love to be that guy that owns this humongous building or owns that strip mall with all those stores. It definitely was an ego thing back then, just owning stuff and kind of strutting around.
Okay, but now you're that guy. So
yeah, something like that. So for me, that was the initial thing, but I'm also just fascinated with development and just having places for people to live, work, community, etc. It's something to me, just something fascinating about it.
Yeah. And do you remember, your first big win or turning point where you're like, I'm really going to be able to do this as a career?
Yes, I do. And it's a crazy story. I thought outside the box, and I had a leader who welcomed my thinking outside the box, because I was the young guy in the company. So everybody else was kind of dinosaurs and they did things the way they did things. And here I go, like, well, why don't we just try this? And like, hey, try it. Let's see how it goes. So it was actually a Walgreens. It was a dark Walgreens, which means the lease was still in place and they were still paying the lease, but the store had closed down. And we were looking at purchasing it, and we already had somebody in mind to rent it. Usually goes to a dollar store or something similar. And it was one of the dollar stores. I thought to myself, I'm like, hey, before we close, why don't we just try and negotiate a buyout of Walgreens lease and see how it goes. So we ended up getting the spot for $2 million, and Walgreens did a buyout for $2.1 million. So the company actually made $100,000 to buy the property. Plus, once we bought it, the dollar stores lease went into effect. We never missed a beat. It was tenanted right away, and we made $100,000 at closing.
Wow. And that was early in your career?
Yeah, that was actually the first deal that I really was a part of. Like really, I wasn't the, hey, make sure we have enough copies of this. It was like I was actually a part of strategy. Yeah, that was the first one. And from there, I was like, I'm pretty sure I can do this.
Yeah, that'll make you get into it for sure.
And a pat on the back from the president of the company is always good.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Exactly. Well, yeah, they had faith in you, which is huge.
No, 100%. And that does something for your confidence too. When your leaders celebrate you and they have confidence in you and they're willing to allow you to try new things, right? That's how we learn and that's how we grow is we try, fail or succeed. If you fail, you see where you went wrong, you try again. And that's just how we grow. And, all success is built on a mountain of failure, right? So having that comfort to try and fail is what really helped me.
Absolutely. And can you think about a time where maybe things didn't go as planned, but you learned a big lesson from it?
Every deal. Because every deal there's something. I've yet to do a perfect deal. I've yet to do a deal that was smooth. Every time I look at one and I don't see any issues, I know there's going to be a big issue somewhere that usually comes out in due diligence. And so I would say there's not necessarily one particular one. I think every deal you learn something new because something pops up that is the roadblock or a speed bump and you have to figure it out. And, until you close, it's always a moving target. And as you get closer, that target gets smaller, 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 smaller. And you're just trying to figure things out to help it zone in. And sometimes you have to readjust. And once you close, you close. And then depending on what kind of asset you're buying, the real work might actually start.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's good advice because I think a lot of people getting into the real estate investing world just think it's, a pile of money that gets handed to you. But it's a lot of work.
I would say for anybody who's especially just getting started, understand that it is a lot of work and understand that you are going to be terrified. Me personally, I'm a man of faith. Your faith will help you a lot. If you have a partner or you have a group of friends who are very supportive, they're definitely going to help because it's terrifying. But everything we want in our life is just on the other side of fear. So you have to face it. You have to fight it. You have to get through it if you want to change. If you want to change your life, you have to have the courage to get past the fear and take those steps and do it.
Absolutely. I agree. That's very good advice. And then, so going into where you're at today with the absolute triple net deals, and I know you syndicate a lot of deals, just tell us what you're working on now.
So right now, the deal that we're working on is really cool. So it's actually a suite and an amphitheater. So we actually are buying the suite and the amphitheater, and we're actually leasing it back to the developer and the amphitheater. So it's really cool because we own this space and we own it forever. They operate it like any other business would operate a space that they're leasing. We're starting out year one, getting a 10% cash on cash return, and the rent goes up 2% every year, and we have a 15-year lease. So have some downside protection in this deal, where at the end of the 15 years, we have the option of selling it back to the developer for 1.5 times what we paid for it.
Wow.
And then we also have a guaranteed lease in there. So it's awesome.
Wow. That sounds like a great deal. And then how does that benefit the other party? Because I'm sure that helped them in some way to offload.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's actually a kind of a deeper strategy for companies. And a lot of them use it to either fund their current project, but often it's the next project that they use. Right. So a lot of times, like in a sales leaseback situation, what you'll have is you'll have a company that's looking to expand and they want to expand without incurring debt. A lot of companies use this model to continue to grow, and they want to grow in a way where they're not incurring more debt, right? So instead of going out and getting a loan from a bank to continue to grow, sometimes they will sell a space or sell a building and lease it back, and they use the sales proceeds to go open another location or to continue to grow. And it's really good because it allows them to earn. But if you have the loan and you have debt, you can only write off your interest. So they can write off more by doing the lease.
Wow, I would have never thought of it that way. That's a really good breakdown of it. So it's really a win-win for both parties.
No, it definitely is. One of the deals that I did a couple years ago, we did a sales lease back, and they did all the tenant improvements themselves. So we bought the building from them. They used those sales proceeds to build out the building completely, and then they used it to go open up 2 more locations.
Wow.
So instead of having to get 3 different loans or 2 different loans.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
They just did 1 transaction and was able to open 3 locations.
I'm just always, I mean, like, I never stop being impressed just with the real estate market. There's so many creative ways to just leverage your money and your business. And that's why it's so important to, talk to people who are so educated in the business and really get that knowledge. Because, I mean, you could be leaving so much money on the table. Because to me, I would say, oh, it's better to own. They should just own. But what you said makes so much sense.
Yeah, and then you have to remember too, like, they're not real estate companies. They're whatever they are. They're a doctor, they're a dentist, they're a restaurant. They aren't real estate companies. They don't want to own the real estate, right? They want to do what they do. We, me and people like me, we allow them just to do what they do. They can get to a whole point where they would need a whole nother department just to deal with the real estate aspect.
Wow. And where do you source these deals from?
Mainly from just relationships with brokers and business owners, mergers and acquisition companies. I've been in the industry, I always want to say 10 years, but it's been over 15 years now. Not to age myself, but over 15 years. And just having those connections with people and those relationships with people, letting them know what I'm looking for, what my strategy is. A lot of times they bring them to me. And like anybody else, conferences with like-minded people in general.
Yeah. And you're very diversified in location, right?
Midwest and the South mainly. We'll do anything all over the U.S. If it makes money, it makes sense. If it's good business, it's good business. But I primarily really like the Midwest and the South because that's usually where you're getting the best returns, typically. And a lot of them are usually landlord-friendly states. Nothing against my tenant-friendly states. But we have a few states that are anti-landlord, in my opinion. So I can deal with a tenant-friendly state. So you'll find a lot of Midwest and the South. But I think that's where a lot of the best deals are right now.
Why is that so?
I think it really comes down to cost of living. I think they're more affordable deals. So since that's just kind of the environment that a lot of cities, especially when you're talking about Midwest cities like Kansas City, St. Louis, Indianapolis, the plethora of cities in Ohio that are similar. And then across the South, like here in Texas, Houston's a great market that's like 6 markets in one. Same thing, you go to DFW, and then across the Southeast as well. I think the lower price of living allows you to get into deals for less money. You can get these assets at a lower price, but the market as far as rents and stuff is still high. So what you're renting for, whether it's residential or commercial, is still kind of high, but your purchase price is a little bit lower because that's just how things are in the area.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then going to these absolute triple net deals that you do, can you kind of break down just the theory behind those?
Yeah. So the theory behind those is making a reality of what people think real estate is. This is really the most passive, the absolute triple net and ground leases, which we do both. And that's as passive as it really gets because with the absolute triple net lease, the tenant is responsible for everything. That includes maintenance, insurance, taxes, right? They're responsible for all those things. And so the amount of management is really small to next to nothing, honestly. So when you have that, it allows you, for me, I believe in a property being stabilized before you buy the next one. Now, some people have some huge organizations where they have a whole asset management side and property management side. I think it's a little different for them. But I think for the most part, for most people, stabilizing the property before you go buy the next one. And in these situations, these properties are stabilized the day you close. So you can continue to scale and you can continue to build up.
Wow. So you've been able to scale within that pretty quickly.
Yeah, it allows me comfortably too. Like I said, I believe in it being stable. As a person who has passive investors, my number one goal is to preserve their capital and then give them a return. So I want to make sure it's stable. I want to make sure we're fully fed.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Fully vet and do great due diligence, on who the tenant's going to be and make sure that we have that stability there for them. Because my main focus is helping them grow their money somewhere where it's stable and it's dependable.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point that, I think of a lot of people think of real estate investing as very active and very in the weeds, but there is that passive element to it.
Yeah, and it really depends on what asset. Like I come from the multifamily world. So if you're going to invest in apartments, be prepared to work. I'm just going to let you know. Be prepared to work. Be prepared to work. These grays are not from age and time. They're from property management. Okay. Yeah. So be prepared to work your butt off. Is it worth it 100%? But different assets have different level of management. Different assets have different expense like ratios and things like that. And I think the best thing to do is find the one that fits for you. Because I know some people who could not really do the asset that I do because they want to be everyday active with tenants and stuff like that. And, I did that for a while, so I'm good on it. But it really just kind of depends on what kind of asset and personality the person has.
Totally. And you were saying how you really value creating stability for your investors. Can you talk about how important stability is over maybe like the really sexy deal that looks really great?
Yeah. I think my daughter would yell at me for this, for using this analogy. She's a Gen Z. I can't do or say anything.
You can't say anything.
I look at it, I kind of explain it to people for like us guys, like you're younger and like the girl that's kind of crazy. It was the same thing for women, like the bad boy, right? And it's like this craziness about it. It's really just a dopamine hit and it seems exciting and all of that. But then eventually you kind of find out like, man, this is leading me to a lot of dead ends, right? Or is it leading me to a lot of bad places where then you find something stable and you find that comfort in it, and then you feel comfortable and you feel stronger because you have the confidence to grow and things like that and the support. That's how I feel about real estate. There's a lot of sexy and sizzling deals that, you hear about and syndicators talk about, and they give you this great, beautiful picture, but in 3, 4, 5 years, it's just not the reality, right? And they're telling you the potential. Where I like the stability of the absolute triple net because we know what our NOI is every year. Right. We know, okay, we have a 2% to 3% annual rent escalator at each property. And we don't have any expenses. If we do, they're nil, right? They're very small. So I know what my NOI is in 5 years, right? I'm not guessing what taxes will be. I'm not guessing what insurance will be, right? We don't have any expenses. So we know where that NOI is. So that allows us to have more of a stable outlook on where we're going to be and what we'll be able to sell the property for.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And for somebody who's maybe new to investing, you've given a lot of great advice in terms of, how to start out. But what would be something else? If you can think of anything else, what would you tell people? Or I guess, what do you wish you learned earlier? That's a better way to.
What I wish I would have learned earlier and truly believed earlier is you don't have to start small. You don't. We have several people that we've come across and I've come across that have $200,000, $300,000 and they want to learn about wholesaling. And it blows my mind. I'm like, you're hustling backwards. Like people wholesale to get money to flip. They flip and they'll flip 4 properties. The 5th one they'll hold as a rental. They got enough rentals and then they want to do apartments. If you have that kind of money sitting around, don't start back there. You have the head start. Start as big as you can because it's going to take the same amount of work. A 10-unit apartment complex or a 10-unit retail center is going to require the same amount of work as a 100-unit, right? So if you can do 100, do 100. Like, don't start at 10 when you can do 100. Do 100. And the more units that you have and the bigger the property, typically what's going to happen is that property creates enough revenue for you to have management or third-party management there. So you're actually giving yourself less work by buying bigger. But don't think you have to smart ball. Go big, go as big as you can initially, because it's going to take the same amount of energy and effort.
I think that's great advice. I actually haven't heard somebody say that. I think that's really valuable.
And it's the same process, just as it's an added zero. What's the difference between $1 million property and $100 million property? 2 zeros. You're going to go through the same process, 100%. Everything's going to be the same. So if you can go do 100 million, go do 100 million.
I mean, but I loved how you said how it can actually allow you to actually outsource a lot of the work.
Yeah, I mean, once a property, especially like if it's not like an absolute triple net lease type of deal or a triple net lease type of deal, once you have a certain amount of revenue, the property can afford a property manager, right? So you can put somebody there, again, a third party there. Just make sure you fully vet your third party management. Make sure that they work in your submarket. Make sure that they are experts in that asset class, because you don't want to go get A property and you have a management company that specializes in B properties or vice versa, right? Just make sure third-party management is the right fit for your property and your market. But if your property can afford it, that allows you the time. That's when it allows you to have more of that time, and you can move more of that time with. For me, I think for most of us want to spend more time doing what the heck we want to do. Yeah. And a lot of us it's with family or somebody we love or the people that are closest to us, just because we don't get that time back. You can use that time to spend more time with them, or you can spend that time doing what makes you money, which is finding the next deal and finding more deals.
Definitely. And I think that that's why a lot of people get into the business. They want the freedom, but maybe they find themselves not having it.
Right. You can quickly buy a job. You can quickly buy a job, so I think that also comes down to people understanding their strategy, what they want to do and what their ultimate goal is. Because if you want to get in, it's like, hey, I want passive income. There's certain type of properties you want to look for. You don't want to look for a value add or a reposition if you want your time, because that's going to take a lot of time to stabilize. So I think people have to have a really clear goal on what they want to do and what they want out of it. And from there, draw the map on how to get there.
Yeah, like make your own journey.
Oh, 100%. But I forgot who says it. It's very popular. Begin with the end in mind. So know where you want to go and then figure out how you want to get there. Like one strategy I always use is, okay, this doesn't seem possible, but what if it was? How will we do that? How will we get there? Right. So instead of looking at something saying it's impossible and walking away, it's like, well, if we could do it, how would we do it? And then you figure out how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're giving such good advice for people starting out in the industry. I think it's really valuable.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So what's next for you?
For me, is just to continue to grow, continue to bring people in who are looking to passively invest. They want to grow their money, especially people who want to grow their retirement. That's something that's really dear to me. My father, 40 years and blue collar, all American dude. It wasn't uncommon for him to work a double 2 days in a row. He'd come home, drink his tall can, watch baseball. And grill some meat. Like my dad was like the epitome of the American dream, right? When he retired, I didn't know how much money he'd make. He didn't talk about money. Again, very, very, very traditional man, right? But unfortunately, we lost him to cancer last year. And as that time was coming, you have to do certain things. And I was able to see how much he was getting paid from his retirement. And for me, I'm like, he worked 40 years, 30 years in the same union. He was only getting like $1,400 a month. And to me, it was infuriating because I felt like the person who was most important to me in life, especially important to me in life, my father, was taken advantage of. Like all the time and sacrifice that he made for myself, my brother, my family, even his grandkids, right? Our kids. And that's all he was worth to them. And to me, I was like, I want to be the option for people so where they can grow and help them retire successfully. 90% of people in America fail to retire successfully. And that's an amazing number. That is an amazing number, right? So I want to just make sure that I have deals and I'm allowing access to people. That's one thing that I really take pride into. All of my stuff is 506B, which means I accept accredited and non-accredited investors, because most people in America are non-accredited. So I wanted to make sure I have the access for those people as well. But that's my goal, is just to help as many people as I can, help grow their money safely, protect their initial investment and grow it in a safe manner, and help as many people as I can.
Yes, I love it. And so how can people reach you? How can people work with you?
Man, thank you. I'm happy you said that. I don't have like my social media stuff. I don't know if you can share it or possibly share it. So my current website is under construction, but people can follow me on LinkedIn or on Instagram. Social media is probably the best way to find me. So like on Instagram, I'm Angelo_CRE. And then on LinkedIn, it's just Angelo Grogan Webb. And also my company, Grogan Capital, is on LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. Well, everybody, please check that out. And thank you so much, Angelo. This has been awesome. You've been so inspiring. And I think a lot of people got a lot out of it.
Thank you, Kristen. It was great to be here. I'm happy to share my story, and hopefully somebody can take some nuggets from this, and or if anything, keep it as motivation and faith to take the steps to, improve their life or start working towards those goals they've set for themselves.
Definitely. I think a lot of people will get value from it. So thank you again. And everybody subscribe to this podcast if you loved it. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.